All right, what is happening, you dehydrated today? Bringing you another early Obsidian Flames build. Today we're going to take a look at the Toadscruel, but before we take a look at it, if you guys need any Obsidian Flames sealed product, they're available right now for pre-order over at fullgripgames.com. Check them out. Link, of course, will be in the description. Any Obsidian Flames products you could possibly want is over there and available for pre-order. And with that said, let's go ahead and let's jump into this Toadscruel build. So let's start with Toadscruel, because it's the main point of this deck. The Toadscruel, 270 HP. It's got the ability that says any of your Pokemon with energy attached to them can't be affected by effects of your opponent's Pokemon, which is actually like pretty relevant because Sableye is a thing, and a lot of our Pokemon have very low HP. We kind of like shut down Sableye. To be honest, I think we might have a pretty good Lost Box matchup with this deck. I don't know. I haven't tested it against Lost Box. I played 0 games because this set's not out yet. So we got 4/4 Toadscruel, and then it's attacked as 80 damage for 2 grass, plus 40 more damage for each of your bench Pokemon that has a grass energy. So we're looking at capping at 280 damage, which has been a pretty relevant number in the meta for quite a while. Arceus V-Star, Giratina V-Star, a little bit. Now we're not quite in range of being able to KO V-Max Pokemon, but you can always get a 2-hit KO on those, of course. So we got the 4/4 Toadscruel in here, and we're setting it up with the Cherrim. I love the potential of Cherrim going into this Obsidian Flame set. There's the Vespiquen deck that I've already made a video on. There's the Toadscruel deck, and to be honest, that's kind of it, I feel like, overall. But I'm excited to try out both of those decks with the Cherrim. Cherrim's never really had its moment in the meta, I don't feel like. But I've always really loved enjoying playing the little bit more memey rogue decks that I've been able to come up with it. One thing I didn't mention in the Vespiquen video that I'll mention about in this video about the Cherubi is Cherubi's ability prevents all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to it. So it already is protected from Sableye for that Lost Box matchup, which is like which is really pretty sick. That's what I want to say there, which is really pretty sick. So I love that about the Cherubi. And then of course we have the Cherrim that accelerates the grass energy into play, and it is not able to accelerate the grass energy to the Toadscruel EX specifically, but we can accelerate to the Toadscruel, and Toadscruel only needs 2 energy to attack with anyway. So we can, even if we just get 1 energy on the Toadscruel, then we evolve it to a Toadscruel. Then even if we attach return later, you know, that still works to get to that 2 energy required for the Toadscruel attack. So yeah, the Cherrim needs to get that initial energy in play, but we do need a lot of energy to make this deck work, to be honest. We need a lot of energy because we need not just the 2 on the Toadscruel, but if we want to be hitting for that 280 damage, we need energy on all of our benched Pokemon. So I have an Eldegoss line in here as well, a 2/2 Eldegoss line with the Cotton Lift ability that allows us to search our deck once in our turn for 2 basic energy cards and then put them into our hands so we can search out some grass energy, accelerate them to our bench Pokemon, hook from there. And then also a little bit of an addition here that I'm not sure I want to keep or not is the Kricketune with the Swelling Tune ability that gives plus 40 HP to our grass Pokemon. Is this worth the inclusion? I'm not sure. So theoretically our bench is looking like 2 Toadscruel, a Cherrim, an Eldegoss, that's 4, maybe the Radiant Greninja, that's 5. And then if we have Manaphy in play, that's 6. So our bench gets locked out of having the Kricketune. If we use Cleffa in play early and doesn't get KO'd, then that would be 6. So I'm not sure if we actually have bench space for the Kricketune, to be honest. But I put it in here because I was like, it's level ball searchable. That's sick. Level ball literally finds almost every single Pokemon in our deck besides the Toadscruel EX and the Greninja. But that's like a lot of value from a Pokemon search card that has no drawback. It's not like Ultra Ball where we have to discard 2 cards, or Nest Ball that only gets basics. Well, I mean, Level Ball can't get every... Level Ball only gets Pokemon with 90 HP or less. But when it finds this many Pokemon with 90 HP or less in our deck, that's pretty sick. So once I realized that the Kricketune had 90 HP, I was like, I don't know, that synergizes so well with Level Ball. I've got to try it out in here. So 1/1 Kricketune in here for now. But I think that's definitely like the thing that's most likely potentially going to get cut from this deck. For the support Pokemon, Manaphy to protect our bench, of course. Greninja is a pretty popular card. I don't see that changing when Obsidian Flames comes out. And then for the 2 support Pokemon, we got the Cleffa, of course. I've been loving Cleffa. I'm hyping Cleffa up right now a ton. A lot of you don't think Cleffa's that good, but I don't know what y'all are what y'all are saying. Cleffa is definitely going to be sick. Super excited. It's going to be one of the most impactful, or most used, maybe not most impactful, one of the most used cards, I think, coming out of Obsidian Flames moving forward. And then the Greninja in here for a little bit of draw power through the concealed cards. We got the combo of like Cotton Lift, search out 2 energy, concealed cards, draw some cards, kind of repeat that from there. I could see us maybe wanting to include a Recycler over the second Super Rod. I got some recovery in here with the 2 Super Rods. Maybe want to do like 1 Super Rod, 1 Energy Recycler. Maybe need to be a little bit more aggressive at recovering some energy. So I could definitely see making that adjustment. Then we got the usual suspects in here for the supporters, 4 Iono, 4 Research, and the 3 Bosses Orders. And for the Pokemon search, I already talked about the Level Ball. We got some Nest Balls. I only have 2 Ultra Ball in here right now. No Battle VIP Pass as well. We got a couple Artisan in here. to be able to bump Paths of the Peak. We do have some things that Paths of the Peak would make a little bit annoying, but having just some kind of counter stadium in general and some stadium that you can take advantage of is generally pretty good, even if our opponent can also take advantage of Artisan. You know, it's something just to help our consistency, but also be able to bump our opponents. Probably more impactful, a little bit more aggressive stadium, something like a Path to the Peak, something like a Pokestop. We don't want our opponent to constantly be able to get value out of their Pokestop or constantly be locked out by a Path to the Peak. So double Artisan in here, a little bit of consistency, stuff like that. But only 2 Ultra Ball. I went with a really high Toadscruel EX count at 4 to hopefully try and avoid playing a higher count of Ultra Ball and still being able to find my Toadscruel EX fairly consistently. So only 2 Ultra Ball, but I could definitely, obviously, Ultra Ball is a great card, very powerful card. I could definitely see increasing that overall, especially if I am struggling to find my Toadscruel EX. We got 4 of those, 2 Ultra Ball for right now. And then we got 2 Poke Gear in here as well. Help the consistency out a little bit of being able to find our supporters turn to turn. We are a deck that only really needs to play like 1 draw supporter each turn to probably keep going, but at only 8 we might need a little bit of help through the Poke Gears, and in the early game, like, we'll have that Cleffa to use to help us out to draw more cards if we don't get off a draw supporter for turn, or even draw more on top of using a draw supporter for turn. But we don't want to be using Cleffa every single turn of every single game, so a little bit more consistency to finding our supporters. So I got a couple Poke Gear in here for right now. I could maybe see including something like a Luminion or a Squawkabilly. Then we would definitely be cutting the Cricketune if I included either of those. But for right now, I'm trying to avoid including one of those big liabilities on the bench. I really want my opponent to have to go through the Toadscruel with the 270 HP, potentially 310 HP with the Cricketune. Yeah, I'm not trying to really leave it open up for my opponent to potentially be able to just go boss KO with 2 Prodigy off my bench, like a Luminin, like a Squawkabilly, if I can avoid it. So currently don't have that in here right now, but of course we could maybe have to flip around and actually include it. 12 basic grass energy. I think this might be a little bit on the high side now that I'm kind of looking at this again. I wasn't really sure what I was thinking when I initially made the list. You definitely need a decent amount of grass energy because you need at least 2 on the Toadscruel to get attacking initially, and then you need to fill up 5 on your bench Pokemon. You'll need a couple extra for your Toadscruels as they get KO'd, and you have to set up new ones. But 12 might be a little bit high, especially with the ability of the Eldegoss, the Cotton Lift. We don't need to, like, you know, get 2 energy off the Eldegoss and then also find like an attachment for turn from the hand. We don't need like 3 energy every single turn. Once we set up and get things going, we only need like 1 or 2 energy each turn after that. So I can see this coming down to 11, maybe even 10 energy, to be honest, because yeah, like I said, we got energy recovery in the super rods. We don't need a ridiculously high amount of energy to be able to draw into with our Ionos and researches, because the Cotton Lift from the Eldegoss will get us there pretty consistently. So that could definitely open up some space in this deck to actually cut back on the basic energy count. And yeah, that's the Toadscruel deck, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.